Welcome everyone back to another episode of Football Tailgaters podcast, where we talk everything about the NFL. In this episode, we're going to talk about the NFL draft that just happened this past weekend. We're going to talk about the winners, the losers, and the surprise of the NFL draft. And lastly, we'll talk about Tyran Mathieu going back home to New Orleans with the Saints, signing a very big deal. I am Aaron, and right here with me, I have Yams, Texan New York Jets fan, and then I have Andy, the unbiased football fan. We're going to start off with the winners, losers, and the surprise. Whichever order doesn't matter. You guys can pick your teams for each one. We should say, I guess, one winner, the biggest winner, the biggest loser, and the biggest surprise of the draft. We're going to start off with the Yams. What do you think? Who was the biggest winner, loser, and surprise of the NFL draft?
Well, there's no surprise with what team I'm going to go with. As you guys know, we went to the NFL draft. We experienced it live in Las Vegas. And so I think the winner that came out of the draft is the New York Jets. They banked it. They did pretty good picks, in my opinion. If you take a look at their picks, they took, as I predicted, Ahmed Sauce Gardner, the cornerback. They took him at the number 4. I was off on the 10th pick, but they did go with a wide receiver. I thought Drake London would fall down to the 10th, but either way, Garrett Wilson's still a good pickup. He will do good in the Mike LaFleur offense. Also, they ended up trading up, which was a big surprise for me. And they ended up getting Jermaine Johnson II, so pass rusher, traded up for him. I think he'll be a big-time player. I think the trade-off will pay off in the Robert Saleh's defense. And also the one that really shocked me, I didn't really see this one coming, honestly. It was Bryce Hall, the running back. So I guess when you come to think about it, the two cornerbacks that could be arguably one of the best would be between Gardner and Stingley. Gardner just got better every year. He improved every year. I don't know much about Stingley. Yeah. From what I hear, he had like a good 1 year. Mm-hmm. And if you see the Garrett Wilson, the wide receivers, he's a great pickup. Between him, Drake London, and who was the other one that got picked up? Olave?
Jameson
for
Williams.
The other Ohio. And Jameson Williams
yeah.
Alabama. And then there was the other wide receiver from Ohio as well.
Yeah, so these are arguably one of the top wide receivers, so I can say he might be one of the top wide receivers. We just don't know, right? And then you get a Jermaine Johnson pass rusher, who's also one of the great ones, arguably one of the best ones as well. This is all on paper, right? We don't know how good these guys are going to be. And you have Bryce Hall, the running back. I didn't hear anyone else talk about a running back that was as good or a great pickup.
Yeah. And
the other two were surprising too. They got Jeremy Ruckett, who is a New York Jets fan as a kid, and it's nice that they picked up a tight end, and so it'll be promising development there. The only thing where I find a little questionable is they picked up Max Mitchell, which we do need a tackle, no doubt about it. The only thing is they waited too long to pick up a tackle, so this one's a project. So, the other ones that I mentioned, I think they're slam dunks. The overall picks, they were all slam dunks for the New York Jets.
Mm-hmm. What about the biggest loser for you?
You know what? This draft was kind of all over the place for me. I can't say who was a loser because at the end of the day, we don't know. But I can say the surprises for me. I'm kind of shocked that Houston picked up Stingley versus Ahmed Sauce Gardner. I thought he would be the first corner taken in the draft. One of the big surprises for me was Hutchinson. Hutchinson got picked in the second and Walker went first. I think Hutch is more of a plug and play player, and right away he's NFL ready. I think Walker might have a higher ceiling. We just don't know, but that one pretty surprised. That would surprise me is that Hutchinson did not get picked up in the first. So I think, was it Detroit who picked up Hutchinson? I think Detroit got a good one there. I think they did great.
Yeah, that was Detroit. Well, I mean, first of all, can we say that the NFL Draft Live was a really great experience? It was an awesome experience. We saw like, I don't know, they said it was 250,000 people. I don't think so, but it was close to it. Probably there at the arena area where they were announcing the picks were like 100,000 to 150. It was insanely crowded, but it wasn't that too bad. I mean, it was a really, really great experience. I mean, Las Vegas tried to divide the section into two areas in front of the Bellagio. They had a really cool setup where they did the red carpet, and then they had a huge TV so people in the street can actually see the draft, and they closed the street, which was awesome. We took some pictures and videos. You guys can check them out in our Instagram page at Football Tailgaters. But it was really cool. They had a lot of activities there. They had you to be able to kick field goals, catch the ball and run, like if you were tackling players, throwing to targets, some Hail Mary throws. It was really, really cool. If anybody wants to go to a draft, I would say go for it. I don't know when it's going to be in Vegas, but I'm sure in other places that would have the same activities. But in this particular place in Vegas, it was super cool. Now for the question itself of who was the biggest winner, I would agree with you that it was the Jets, just because of the so many like potential picks that players that we thought about were like at the highest ceilings. Number one was Gardner. He was placed as the number one corner because Stingley only, like you were saying, Yams, that he only had one good year there in LSU. But his year was a monster year. He was picking off passes like crazy. So, if he plays as he in the NFL like he played in that particular year in LSU, then he's going to be the monster cornerback. But if you want a cornerback that was like a really good, legit pick that you knew that he's going to be okay, and I don't know if he's going to be that shutdown corner, even though they're calling him Sauce Island already. Maybe that's a little too early. We'll see. But I think that he was a really solid pick. And then they went with a wide receiver from Ohio, and Wilson for sure. They're gonna have a Wilson to Wilson. I can already hear the commentators go Wilson to Wilson if that even happens. But he was actually placed as the number one overall wide receiver of this draft by many analysts, or the number two. So they hit a home run there at the 10th overall pick as of right now on paper. And then, like you were saying, Yams, with Jermaine Johnson moving up to getting a really solid defensive end, and Jermaine Johnson was a surprise for everybody on that particular draft day. And then they surprised all of us again in the second round when they got the best wide running back of the draft with Hall. So, it was a really, really good, solid draft for the Jets. We can always think about as the NFL draft as the first and second round are your most legitimate players are going to be playing in the season, and the rest, like the third, fourth, fifth. A lot of them shine, but most of them don't. So if we have to put it on paper for the first and second round, who was the best team, I would go with the Jets as well. But that's not miss out on the other New York team with the Giants. Thibodeau, we were talking about Thibodeau for in our last podcast, and we had him really high up there, and they were able to get him. So Thibodeau fell to the Giants, and not only did the Giants get Thibodeau, they actually were able to get the offensive tackle from Alabama, and Evan Neal. I mean, he was placed as the number one offensive tackle for many analysts, and I mean, that's what they need, protection for the quarterback. Even though we don't know if Danny Dimes is going to be the quarterback for the future, but at least they're solidifying for the future. So they did a good job. After that, after the first round, I wouldn't. That's why I would still pick the Jets, because after that they went with Robinson, the wide receiver from Kentucky, and I don't think that player meshes well for the Giants. They did trade. They had a higher a position in the second round, and they actually traded it away. So I don't think that they did a good a good trade on that point. And then they picked up this wide receiver. They could have gone other solid players, but that's just me. So for me, the best one was actually the Jets. And the biggest surprise out of all the draft is, like you were saying, Yams, I mean, everybody was thinking Hutchinson was going to go to the number one overall pick. Excuse me.
Excused.
But no. But they actually, the Jaguars got Walker. So, I mean, nobody that I saw with their analysis, like, it was like maybe a very small percentage said, well, maybe Walker is going to be the best one. But I mean, if you're going to go and get the player that is going to be more football ready, you just go for the best one, especially if you're the number one overall pick. Just go and get Hutchinson at that point. So hopefully it's not the Jaguars shooting themselves in the foot again, because if it does, then they're going to be talking about this for the like the next 5 years of what could have happened if they got Hutchinson, Hutchinson turns out to be a monster in Detroit, and saying, here, this is the reason why these teams are always picking first, because they don't know how to build out of the draft, or they don't know how to make their moves and select talent. So that's my biggest surprise. If I have to put another surprise in there, it would be the Patriots. I know that Bill Belichick is known as the greatest coach, and I agree with that, of all time. But he went to pick up a quarterback, which I have no clue why. I mean, you do have Mac Jones. I mean, supposedly he's your quarterback of the future. Why are you getting another quarterback? That just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, get another player to help out the team out. I mean, you did make the playoffs, which everybody was impressed. I mean, you went to the playoffs with Mac Jones and very little like offensive like weapons. So I don't know what happened there. So that's my other surprise. But the winners, I would say the New York teams, but the Jets is clearly the biggest winner. And the biggest surprise was not Hutchinson not taken first, and also the Patriots doing a weird move and picking a quarterback. So that's my take.
I would almost put them just pretty much as losers there instead of just a surprise. I mean, the surprise is the New England Patriots aren't really known to be very good at drafting, except, they got Mac Jones, but they don't have a really good track record, would you say?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it also makes sense. Like, maybe in the draft, I mean, there's not that many coaches that do or GMs that actually pick really well year after year. And Bill Belichick is just known for just building off of like trades and free agency. And I mean, if that works for him, like then so be it. So I mean, I'm not saying that this draft is just going to hurt the Patriots, because I just believe in Bill Belichick and his ways of doing things and his football operations. So I mean, yeah, you can consider them as the losers as of this draft, but I mean, who knows? We shall see.
I think the clear winners, I would say, would be the Jets. But I think the other winners that are really close next to them is the Baltimore Ravens. They got, I would even say they got some steals, wouldn't you say? Because the Cowboys, I'm very disappointed in the Cowboys. But the Cowboys had a chance to get, if I'm not mistaken, if that's how the order went by. Let's see right here. Yeah, if the Cowboys had a chance to get the other Tyler Linderbaum, they passed on him and they went for a tackle. The penalty king, some would say, Tyler Smith, who might be replacing Tyron Smith. Who knows what situation would that be? But I think my point would be the biggest winners and surprise at the same time would be the Ravens, because they got some massive the 2 picks that they got in the first round were great. You were mentioning that safety that you were talking about. What was his name again? Kyle Hamilton. You told me that he's basically the Micah Parsons of this draft. He's gonna be like a big steal, and he's gonna be a big change to this defense that they have. I think I'm surprised he went to 14. He could have gone earlier, and as well as Tyler Linderbaum, who could have gone to the Cowboys, but the Ravens probably saw him still up on the board and decided to get him. I think they had a fantastic draft. As for the losers, that's pretty obvious. The New England Patriots, I just don't know about them. It was such weird picks. I would also put, I guess, okay, so here's some interesting notes too. I want to point out that after a good while, it hasn't happened in a good while, in probably, I think it's like decades. Only one quarterback went in the first round, and that was Kenny Pickett with number 20. Last time that happened was in 1997, which is a long time ago. So we saw a very obvious thing, that this was a very offensive line, also defensive heavy draft, you would say. Same thing with the running back, Brees Hall, I think, or Bryce Hall, when the Jets picked them up, that was the best running back. And you could say even that was a steal. And that's why the Jets, oh my God, they had a great draft, and this is their chance to start building a great team and have a great future in the next couple of years, and maybe look for something better than just not making the playoffs. They do have a difficult group with the Bills and the Patriots and the Dolphins, but they're gonna build experience. I almost feel like that's gonna I guess make them more experienced and teach them better lessons going against really tough teams, and that might develop them into greater players. I think another interesting point, AJ Brown going to the Eagles, the trading with the Titans going on. I thought that was dumb. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that was so dumb. As a Cowboys fan, that was horrible. I hated that. Everything about that sucked. But that was also a surprise, you could say. Another point, University of Georgia, huge win for them. They had a lot of players taken off the board, especially in the defensive side. They had, it was five Georgia players taken in the first round. It started with a Georgia player. They got Trayvon Walker, the defensive edge. And then it ended with another Georgia player, which is a safety, Lewis Seen. So they had a big win there, if you want to consider that. But if we're talking about NFL teams, easily the biggest winners are the New York Jets and the Baltimore Ravens. And I would put the New England Patriots and Cowboys as the losers, because they had a very underwhelming draft. You could say that the Cowboys maybe had a better time in the second and later rounds, but I mean, I'm not really that I don't know that much about the later rounds, I'm gonna be honest. But from what I was reading up on, it seemed like they had a better time later in the rounds than they did in the first round, which was very underwhelming. I don't know why they would go pick up a tackle that was a leader in the Division I with penalties and holding it. Whoa, why? I'm really interested. I want to see why. I hope they prove me wrong. I really do. But for now, I'm disappointed in them, and I would consider them the losers. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was with you with Tyler Linderbaum, the offensive line from Iowa. Yeah, the center. Mm-hmm. I mean, definitely. I thought that was the pick that the Cowboys should have gone for, and maybe you even had the opportunity to go with Tyler Smith later on. I mean, there was some rumors that some other teams were putting an eye on him because supposedly the Cowboys wanted to trade up, but they stayed in their place. I guess they just feel good about themselves that they've been drafting pretty well in at least these last couple years. But I was just very surprised that they didn't get Tyler Linderbaum. He was the next, maybe the next Travis Frederick for them. I mean, I know that Tyler.
Could you say this is like the Taco Charlton, but
oh my gosh, from the offensive line?
Is this Taco Charlton 2.0?
Maybe. I mean, those. I mean, for him to be known as the penalty king, it's very, very concerning for the Cowboys, especially if they want to they play their best game with the running game. I think we can already see what Dak Prescott can do. It's not going to be like this monster guy to like win it all. Like, he needs help. Like, that's just my opinion. He has done pretty well as a quarterback. It's really hard to get a good quarterback. So I'm okay with him being the Cowboys quarterback as of now, but he needs help. So, I mean, especially if you're going to be doing the running game, Tyler Linderbaum, it would have been a really great pick for them at that particular point, because he was there for the taking, and then the Ravens were like, oh, if you're not taking him, I'll take him the very next pick. And then, I mean, the Ravens with Kyle Hamilton, I mean, that was just a steal for him. I mean, I do think, like, he's going to be the Micah Parsons, like, last year. He fell all the way to the 14, kind of like Micah Parsons did. So, it was just really well for him. And something crazy about the Baltimore Ravens, they had 6 4-round picks. Like, that is insane. I've never seen anything like that. So, I mean, you're right. The Ravens, I mean, they could have. It could be that they're the second best team that did really well in the draft. I just like the offensive line, Neal, the Alabama. That's just a big solid player. Yeah, for the Giants, and also and also their
Charles Cross
pick
was also good.
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau, yeah.
Yeah, Thibodeau. So that was a really good, solid picks for them. So I'm just a fan of those two players. For me, I was the biggest fan of Kyle Hamilton. I did figure that he was going to drop a little bit, he was picked where I assumed that he was going to be picked. But again, kind of like Micah Parsons, he was the best defensive player in last year. It can be debatable, but as a rookie, he was the best defensive rookie of the year. That's not debatable. And I think that's going to be kind of the same thing for Kyle Hamilton here for this year. So, yeah, I mean, we shall see. And then
could you argue that as well? One point we're missing is also the Chiefs. They had 2 first-round picks, and they're a pretty competitive team. So for for a team that's, technically set to be a Super Bowl team, they had 2 first-round picks, and they even had a good draft for them with Trent McDuffie and that defensive end. What's his name?
Was it the Chiefs you said?
Yeah, the Chiefs. George Karlaftis. I heard he was pretty good from Purdue.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just... Right now, the Chiefs, for me, are kind of like a question mark. I don't know what they're doing. I really hope that they don't believe just because they have Patrick Mahomes and they still have Travis Kelce that they can like go all the way to win the Super Bowl. They don't have Hill anymore. Who do they got? Juju Smith-Schuster? I mean,
they got Juju and they got the guy from Green Bay, Marcus.
Oh, Scanling. So, I mean, because, Robinson is gone, right? I believe.
But they also picked up a wide receiver, Sky Moore. I'm hearing this, that was a slam dunk, too. So, I mean, again, we don't really know.
We don't know.
Right?
And, I'll say this. For the draft, because this is a situation with Walker. Walker had a really...
Did you disconnect?
No. I don't know. Are you still with us?
No, you're good.
Did you hit?
Yeah.
So, how I was saying with Walker is that in the combine, he had like monster numbers, great numbers. And he just like everybody was talking how good of a combine he had, how good he just put up like as a player, he looks like ready to go. But here's the thing with me. I mean, somebody could be good on a test, right? But once you're doing the job itself, that's a totally different subject. Like, you're on paper, yeah, you can do a really good job, but once you put on those pads and you have football situations, that's a totally different thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I can tell you how to do things maybe on paper when I'm a pilot on a plane. But once I'm in the plane and I'm flying it and there's a whole bunch of situations happening, maybe I just freeze or I don't know what to do at that moment. And that's the situation that I think happened with Walker. So with the draft itself, I mean with the Chiefs, I mean, they do say, yeah, you got some good players and everything, but once we see them and like playing, then we can see what happens, and hopefully they then shoot themselves in the foot, having these players that were just good for in their system, like Hill and Robinson. So. And now they're moved to Juju Smith, which, I mean, I don't know what to think of him. I mean, from Pittsburgh, he wasn't well liked at the end of the day from fans with him and his social media and whatever you want to say. Maybe he's just a little bit too much, but I mean, I don't know. And then Tyran Mathieu, he was a solid safety that just left. I mean, I know that we're going to be talking about it a little later, but I mean, those are just question marks that I have with the Chiefs. I mean, if you have the momentum on your side to be able to go to the Super Bowl, you've been like right there like these last few years. I mean, keep that momentum going. Don't ruin it by saying, okay, we're just trying to build for the future still. Or, for the next couple of years, we'll be back. Like, no, these years are your moments.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I just don't know. I like to not question the Patriots for me because they always come in. They always do well. I don't know if it's the pick. I mean, obviously, I know it's the coach, right? But the only questionable one I would say is they picked up a quarterback, and Zap. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. So
yeah.
I mean, if you're a believer in Mac Jones, why wouldn't you get a veteran for him? But they got Zappy, and from what I saw in the Senior Bowl, I didn't like him. So, I mean, that's good. That's good for me. If he's a sucky quarterback, I don't want like another, surprise Tom Brady that's going to be ruining the Jets for years and years to come. But, it's Bill Belichick, so I can't question the man.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say, I mean, if we have to put a grade on it, even though I don't believe too much in these grades, I just in these draft, I would just say like, yeah, they didn't do so well, but I mean, I'm used to them and I'm used to them still winning. So for me, it's not a really big deal for them. And it's just that team. Let me just clarify. It's only the Patriots. Everybody else, it's a totally different story. But Bill Belichick, he has gone to the point that whatever you do, I'm okay with. I mean, the only thing like maybe you can put a question mark on is with the Cam Newton thing. I mean, there's also some other players, right, like Albert Hainsworth and things like that. But I mean, those are small ones. But Cam Newton would be the biggest one that was a big mistake. Or you can, but I mean, we can talk about it later. Is that he did allow for Tom Brady to leave? So maybe that would be the biggest, I guess, hiccup for him, or the biggest, hit for his legacy. They could have, maybe win a few more together and just finish both of their careers there and just be like, whoa, these guys just, instead of making it just by Tom Brady by himself, moving to to Tampa and winning a Super Bowl, they could have solidified it and just made like the Belichick Tom Brady era. But I mean, even though there still is, but it would have been a bigger, a bigger name, in other words.
Yep. Agreed. Definitely. That's why I don't want to talk crap about the Patriots, because they always come to bite me in the butt.
Well, the AFC is super competitive. It's insane how competitive it is this year.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Right.
And then another thing. I mean, the first game of the year is going to be the Rams. I mean, the Rams. That's who I thought it was, because that's always how it is. The Super Bowl winner plays the first game of the season. They're the home opener. And this year that's coming up, we have the Chargers against the Chiefs. Like, what's up with that?
And just like an FYI, guys, there was an announcement there, and it was a countdown 4 hours until we reveal the first game. So me, Andy, and Aaron were all suggesting our picks. So we were like, it has to be the Rams against this, the Rams against. And so when the board came out and it said not the Rams, Chiefs against the Chargers, we were like, what happened? And he's like, what happened to tradition? What happened? It's always a Super Bowl winner and blah, blah, blah. So that didn't happen, and that's kind of shocking. But that just tells you those two quarterbacks are two beasts, and who cares about the Rams?
Exactly. So, yeah, like, they have, I mean, the AFC is super competitive, and I mean, that's how the NFL thinks about the NFC. No, let's just keep it with the AFC. We have Patrick Mahomes against Herbert, and that's going to be the main. And I mean, I'm excited to see it. I was just really surprised by it. But
yeah, the NFC is definitely not in a good spot right now.
Even though they won the Super Bowl, but I mean, that's
yeah, but
here nor there, right?
Like, even with all that, they still don't care.
Who
right?
cares?
It's still like whatever.
Yeah.
The majority of the focus is on the AFC, but I mean, also speaking about the AFC, we did mention Tyran Mathieu. He's no longer going to be with the Chiefs, which I thought personally was surprising. I didn't look exactly why he made that decision, but like I can kind of assume, because he's from Louisiana,
New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. New Orleans. I guess he just wants to go back home, and maybe it's just kind of like a personal decision for him, which, I mean, nothing wrong with that at all. But he's going to a team, New Orleans Saints. They're not exactly competitors at all, you would say, but like, anyways, he got a 3-year, $33 million contract with the New Orleans Saints. What do you guys think about that? Was that
Does
surprising?
it say how much guaranteed?
What's up with that?
Does it show how much
Let's
it's
see,
guaranteed or no?
No, not that I can see right here, but I can pull it up in a bit.
Well, they didn't.
No, it just says
They didn't
$33 million
re-sign it
deal.
because wasn't it because they didn't want to give him the contract or pay him out?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's probably
Wasn't
it.
that the reason?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I mean, that's what usually is the situation.
I got it right here.
You got the guaranteed?
I got it here. Yeah, $18 million, which is pretty good.
Yeah. So, I mean, for like you were saying, personal decision. Maybe and it's in a way for him. Maybe he still has family there. I don't know, in New Orleans, and he just wants to play there at his hometown before he retires. Because if he wants to win, that would be a bad mistake going to New Orleans. So, I mean,
it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like, I mean, he's 29. He's 29. He's not old. So
he's not old,
decision.
but I mean,
3 years.
But a lot of some of these football players, when they get around that age, because they start pretty young. He started really young, so he's been in the league for what, like I would say, like 7 years, maybe. Like
2013.
So he
got drafted by the Cardinals in the 3rd round. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it's like 9 years then. So like that's a lot of time that you're just being hit here and hit there, and then he went from the Cardinals, yada. He went from the Cardinals to the Texans to the Chiefs.
Chiefs, and
now he's going to New Orleans. He's one of those players that for me, he's just an underrated player. Like, I don't know why he moves around a lot. I mean, by his contracts, it's not like, he's a like Earl Thomas, you got to pay him, or Reed from Baltimore, like those huge safeties that you have to just keep them or pay him a lot. Like, he does a really solid work, and I'm just surprised how these teams just say like, no, it's okay, you can go. Like, just let him go. It's really, really surprising to me. I really like the Honey Badger. So it's sad that it looks like he's going to be ending his career soon, going to New Orleans. I mean, I would have liked him to go to, I don't know, somewhere where he had another chance, maybe the Rams. I mean, any other team that has a competitive, like, more competitive.
Cowboys.
No, not them. But
Okay.
not them.
Okay.
No, until they can prove it. But every other team, like, yeah, the Chargers, the Rams. I would even been cool with the 49ers. I mean, they almost went to the Super Bowl. Also the Packers. I mean, the Tampa. I mean, there's so many teams out there that he can do it, but just not end up in New Orleans. But I mean, that's why. Maybe he wants to be with his family.
Just seems like it's just a personal reason.
Right.
Yeah, it's just personal reason. So it seems like he's interested in closing closing this chapter of his life. Perhaps he's going to retire after his third year in that contract. That'll be very interesting to see. But who knows? Maybe he changes his mind somewhere around. But it seems like he's on his own, you know. He's a lone wolf, and it's for his own purpose, whatever he wants. It's almost like, I see it almost like as if he was like an NBA player, because that's kind of like what a lot of NBA players do. They just go for their own reason. Their what they want for themselves mainly. Not to just, like, you know, go win the championship, whatever. It's whatever they want. And that's what he seems to be doing. And it's not like he didn't get paid anything. He's getting paid good money. But it's clear that he's not interested in going to a winner team, going to another Super Bowl. He's just going to relax and do his own thing in New Orleans. What do you think, Yams?
Yeah, I don't know where I read that. Is there a safety that got signed with the Chiefs? Something Reed?
I'm not sure.
Not that I remember.
Well, I remember reading something that he would accept some kind of a deal that Reed received. But either way, I don't know why the Chiefs didn't re-sign him. If they're in the works of trying to win the Super Bowl. I mean, he took him there twice, no?
Oh, Justin Reed,
yeah. So there was an article out there that he said he was willing to take the same pay as Justin Reed. I don't know what kind of miscommunication happened there. I just think it's a big mistake that they're not signing him again. He was there for the 2 Super Bowl appearances that the Chiefs went there. So I don't know what the Chiefs are thinking. I don't think they're going to... I guess they are one of my Super Bowl predictions. I just don't know what they're doing now with you know, they're going to rely a lot on Patrick Mahomes, and I don't
they drafted Brian Cook from Cincinnati in the second round. Yeah, they drafted a safety to replace him. Supposedly Brian Cook is
pretty good.
Is okay. Yeah, well, the reason why Cincinnati was picked was it was a good team that go to the college championship. So that defense with the Sauce Gardner, with Sauce Island, if you want to call it. Brian Cook was there helping him out, and then you have the quarterback Ritter. I mean, it was a solid team, but that defense and that the secondary for Cincinnati was pretty good, and he was a part of that. So maybe that's why the Chiefs were like, well, let's just save up on some cap space and just get a player that can replace him for now.
Oh, just a fun fact here on the side note, because you mentioned Sauce. He has a necklace, little bling bling necklace, where he fills, in its shape of a sauce, where he fills a hot sauce in it, and it changes
whatever he wants.
He puts whatever hot sauce. It can be spicy, it can be sweet. It just depends on how he feels. But yeah, just a little fun fact there. But I guess back to the Tyran Mathieu. Yeah, the Saints are not a winning team. They are basically now back to rebuilding. Drew Brees is gone. Sean Payton is gone. We don't have much hope on Jameson Winston. At least I don't. But at least we know that Tyron comes in as an automatic starter for that team. They did lose 2 safeties to Baltimore Ravens. I do know that he will be filling in some much needed holes for that team, for that defense. With that being said, I also know that they have another explosive safety. I know this because I'm a Jets fan, and it's Marcus May. He was a beast as a Jet. I don't know how he is now with his injury, but he might come back. So I think there'll be a great duel there.
What's up with that? I mean, if
What's
they
up
got
with that?
If they got Marcus May, why go for Tyran Mathieu?
They lost two of them, so they need.
But okay, if you're gonna do these types of moves, aren't you thinking like? I mean, they could be a surprise, right?
Everyone thinks they're a good team, Andres.
I don't think
Andy?
so. I really, I really, I don't think everybody thinks that they're good. And I think that there are some teams that are okay with tanking, even though they don't admit it. And I don't know what the Saints are doing. Do they really think they have a shot? Remember, Kamara is not even there anymore.
Right.
I don't know for how long. So I really have no idea what they're thinking. I mean, and then
what happened
Thomas
to Kamara
there
again?
To who? To Kamara? He's going to jail, or he went to jail.
Yeah, he's.
Wait, I totally forgot about that. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
he's getting locked up.
And then Thomas, their wide receiver, like what's up with him?
That guy's a whole mess.
It's a whole
himself,
mess,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what they're doing. And then Sean Payton leaves, and it's just nuts to me. It's just crazy. And they didn't get a they didn't get a quarterback like from the free agency, so I don't know. I would assume that they're in rebuild mode, so I don't know why you would just waste your time in getting Tyran Mathieu and Marcus May as safeties. So I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Well, what did Alvin Kamara do again? Did he run over somebody? Did he kill somebody?
Oh man!
Oh no! I don't know what it was.
I don't know.
I know it's because I think I'm getting confused with the
here.
Raiders one who did end up killing somebody.
Yeah, but that was...
Oh, Henry Ruggs.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy. Ooh.
He couldn't handle Vegas.
No, it says Saints Alvin Kamara. When was this? February 7, 2022. Saints Alvin Kamara freed from jail after battery arrest in Vegas.
Oh, Vegas again.
Man,
okay.
I mean, Vegas is all fun and everything, but like, come on, guys, be adults here. I know. I mean, they had a lot of money, and that's why. But don't these players should have like a guide just to check them? Yeah, like just to keep them in check. No, not even a life coach. I mean, it can be. Everybody has like these designated like drivers or people that would just like calm them down. I mean, they're getting paid like free food and great dinners and stuff like that. I don't understand if you have millions of dollars and you tell this guy, hey, for tonight I'll give you $5,000 and you just be our designated like person, like you're gonna drive us around or make sure that we don't get into trouble or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird.
Nope, it's too late when you have alcohol on you.
I mean, maybe they're just.
I know it's kind of like. It's kind of weird now that I'm thinking about all this. Even though you guys are mentioning that, my mind just goes straight to like the fantasy. I go like, wow, this is gonna shake up the fantasy draft quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, remind me in fantasy not to draft him because I will forget that he's in jail.
Yeah, so I bet you a lot of people are gonna forget because I don't know if he's able.
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
It happened a while ago.
If the suspension, or I don't know, he's probably gonna be suspended for the whole year. If he's gonna be suspended for the whole year, then he shouldn't be on any of those platforms like ESPN or Yahoo Fantasy.
Right.
So he should be taken off there now. Yeah, fantasy is just gonna be a totally different monster because. I mean, the ones that we thought that they were like the good ones. I mean, I don't know if you would pick them again. You have McCaffrey.
It's gonna be a different year now.
Yeah, look at McCaffrey. He's been injured
Kamara,
twice a year. Saquon, like it's just too much.
I won't tell you my secrets. I'll keep my fantasy hits. But yeah,
I get Breece Hall first round. I'm kidding. That's our secret.
And you pick up and you pick Elliott. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, I will stay away from Elliott.
No, I don't know. But
anyways,
It's going to be really interesting. Honestly, we're just seeing what's exciting about the NFL is that we're seeing a new generation of players. It's sad to say, go out with the old and how does it go? And with the new.
With the new.
So
out with the old and with the new.
We're just seeing a whole bunch of new quarterbacks, really good talent. I mean, Burrow was awesome. Herbert is also really, really good. Like, it's super exciting how these quarterbacks are just playing lights out.
It's becoming a very quarterback-driven offense. Type of game. It's
look at Mahomes. Like, it's
because wouldn't you say it shifted to the running backs for a little bit and then it went back to the quarterbacks? I feel like running backs. There's a lot of running backs back like a couple of years ago.
Running backs that catch,
dominating.
Well, I mean, if we were talking about fantasy, there's just a handful of running backs that's why a lot of people just usually go for running backs in the first round because there's not that many of them. And then you can pick up wide receivers later on. And then some people wait on picking like the quarterbacks later on or the really good ones like second, third round. I mean, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know how many running backs at this point. I mean, would you get Eckler again early?
Oh, yeah. And I think I would.
And then there's Chubb. There's Henry
Taylor.
There's Taylor.
Yeah, there's still some. Taylor is a big one. I think he's probably going to be a lot of first pick overall type of.
But who's gonna take that risk on McCaffrey?
No one.
Well,
no one.
Are you sure? Look, I mean,
I think if he falls to the second round.
No, in the first round, if you're a late first rounder, I mean, McCaffrey's there. I mean, it's very tempting.
Yeah, I would get him.
I wouldn't. No.
And then Saquon, maybe he probably fell to the second round.
He's getting a little bit of help in the O-line.
Yeah, they got him a little bit of help in the O-line, and maybe he needed a little bit more time to just get even healthier because he tore his ACL. So for some players, they just need a little bit more time to come back. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Here's a point also that I saw. 6 wide receivers went in the top 20, which was most in the common era. And funny part is that none of them went to the Packers, which I thought they really needed a wide receiver, but clearly not, according to them.
In the first round?
They got, in the first round,
right.
6 wide receivers in the top 20.
Right.
And the Packers ended up getting a defensive tackle instead.
Well, I think
that's interesting.
I think Aaron Rodgers, thank you. I think he came out saying on the Pat McAfee podcast saying that, first round wide receivers end up being busts. So
that's just him just trying to make it a positive spin because he complains a lot that he doesn't get any help in the first round. And I agree with him. That's kind of messed up. I mean,
well, I didn't know Javonte Adams was in the first round pick, was he?
No, he was a second round pick.
And he used him as an example. Yeah. He's like, look at Javonte Adams and look at, I don't know who else, but he kept saying, they're, most of, not all of them, for wide receivers that are drafted in the first rounds are busts, which made me kind of sad. I don't want him to be that correct because I'm excited with Garrett Wilson. So I'm hoping mine's not the bust.
No, I mean...
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of wide receivers that were... I mean, again, it's a draft.
Lamb,
yeah. So far, he's been a hit. Des Bryant was also a hit. Let's just keep on saying Cowboy wide receivers. Michael Irvin. But I mean, Calvin Johnson from Detroit. I mean, for me, that guy was one of the best wide receivers in NFL history, and his talent just wasted away in Detroit. But no, I mean, you can say that for a lot of positions, honestly. What about quarterbacks? Then quarterbacks also in later rounds, they just turn out to be amazing too. So like Russell Wilson, we all
Tony Romo.
That guy wasn't even drafted.
He was undrafted.
Right? He wasn't even drafted.
Look at Dak Prescott too in the 4th round. Like if we're talking about Cowboys,
Tom Brady,
6th round.
Did you say Russell Wilson already?
Russell Wilson, I think I did. Yeah. So,
plenty of quarterbacks.
There's plenty of quarterbacks. So
sometimes I feel like they put too much pressure on the first rounders, and they totally ditch the later rounds. I feel like after like the third round, you're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not the case. But I mean, you don't know them. You won't know the actual player until you see them play in the NFL, right?
Yep.
Didn't Roethlisberger like almost fall to the second round, and then there was like a whole bunch of other quarterbacks taken early? Well, never mind. That year was when Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning were taken earlier.
I do know this, though. I've been watching the NFL for, what, like 10 years now? 12 years, maybe? 12?
I would say 12.
Yeah, 12. And I do see that there's more hits with defensive players than there is the offense. I see.
Look at Jadeveon Clowney. That was a first overall pick, and look where he's been jumping
where is
from
he?
team
Is
to
he in
team.
jail?
No.
No,
he's not in jail.
Not him.
No,
Not him.
not someone else.
He's in his third team already. He went from Houston to Tennessee to Cleveland.
Cleveland, no? Yeah, he's in Cleveland now. Yeah.
So I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick.
I don't know why I thought maybe I'm confusing him with someone else that did something.
So I mean, my point is, look at Tavon Austin as a wide receiver as well. I mean, to Roger's point, he was like he was going to be a really good wide receiver, and he turned out to be a bust. So,
but yeah, he's kind of right then. So,
in some ways,
who was such a great wide receiver that got picked up?
I told you, Calvin Johnson.
No, well, last year.
Oh, Chase. How about Chase? Jamar Chase. Didn't he go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, he was a great pick.
How about Justin Jefferson from Vikings?
Was he a first round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wrong then.
Jalen Waddle,
is he that great?
He's all right, but
all right.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb used him also.
I mean,
mentioned.
he was good. Yeah. And then let's see.
So
that was it. The rest of them are like, let's see, Devontae Smith. I mean, who knows? And then Kadarius Toney. That was weird. Rashad Bateman. For the Ravens.
Well, let's just say the
after
early
that,
wide
it was just second
receivers
rounders.
turned out to be good. So I think just Aaron Rodgers, he's stuck in the Packers. He took his money like he wants to be paid. Yeah, he's just trying to put a positive
Didn't he
spin on
say
it.
he was like, I thought Devontae Adams was gonna stay when I got the new contract. Like he thought he was gonna stay. He thought that was gonna be part
thinks
of the deal.
the world revolves around him.
Oh gosh.
So I mean, who do the Green Bay Packers have as a wide receiver? Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb. Like, really, you're gonna win with these guys? Okay, go for it.
They did draft one, didn't they?
Yeah, but I mean, later.
Yeah, in the later round. Yeah. I mean, who knows? It might turn out to be a good wide receiver, but like right now, there's a low expectations for that.
Sammy Watkins already jumped from a lot of teams. Alan Lazard has been there. Randall Cobb, he left and then came back, and we don't think of him as amazing anymore. So, I mean, maybe in his earlier career with Aaron Rodgers, but not anymore. So, we'll see.
Yeah. I'm trying to see any. No, yeah, that's all he's got. That'll be interesting. I don't know. They got 2 picks in the first round, I think. They had where is it at? They had the 22 and the 28, and they went with the linebacker and the defensive tackle. So they had 2 opportunities to pick up at least one wide receiver. A lot of the good ones went at the beginning. Yeah. But we will see what happens with them. I mean, they already have a really good defense, so it just got better. That's all I can say. But yeah, anything else you guys have to say?
Go Jets.
No, really.
I'm excited.
It is going to be very exciting this year. And
it was a good draft.
It was a good draft. It was a good draft. A really great experience. Las Vegas did a really, really cool job. I mean, I really want to go see the Raiders there play in Allegiant Stadium. They do a really good job.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, super fun.
Aaron beat me on the 40-dash run, so I'm not too happy about that.
But we were still very slow, though. Very slow, although it felt like I was going fast.
Didn't you do a 5.9?
Yeah, It was like a 5.95, which I think is still pretty slow.
I don't think.
I think it might be the average. No,
No,
That's not
that's like a
bad.
linebacker.
what's like the average?
Or no, an
That's like a
offensive
line-
lineman.
No,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's like
offensive line.
no. It'll be like an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like an old lineman. Hey, but those guys, like they
I was-
train.
I was
Evan,
running
you
at
don't
an
train?
offensive lineman at like
Yeah.
a 6-round rate.
No, it was very fun.
was
It was
pretty
very
fun, though.
fun. But like I said, you guys can check
Yeah.
out the some pictures, and we'll upload a few more in our Instagram page and football_tailgaters. But I guess
That's it for me. I have
Yeah.
nothing else to add.
that's nothing for me as well. I mean, thank you very guys for listening in, and tune into our next episode.
Mm-hmm. All right, that will conclude this episode of Football Tailgaters Podcast. This has been Aaron, Yams, and Andy, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.